Hi guys, welcome back to the studio. A little while ago I did a project with paint chips from Home Depot, like the little samples, and that was a lot of fun. We made a big koi fish. You can check that video out in the description or in the card. And today we're going to do a very similar project. We're going to use the same materials, same process. Today we're going to make a red-tailed hawk. My cousin has a YouTube channel called the Reptile Project, and he's starting to get into falconry and catching and training falcons and hawks and different stuff like that. So that's really cool. So we're making this red-tailed hawk life-size as a kind of a present for him. So we're going to send that out to Utah and see what he thinks of it. Let's get started on it. So I went through my paint chip collection and pulled out all of the colors that I thought that I would need for this project, and it ended up being about half of my collection that was maybe the right color. I don't really know what I'm going to need, so I just pulled all of it out and got it organized so we'll have plenty, because I definitely don't want not enough. But before we do any of that, we got to make the hawk body, make a skeleton first, and that's what this is for. Got this, what's it even called? Dry floral foam to sculpt the body of the bird, and then we're gonna, we'll start there. I've never worked with this particular material before, so we're gonna just see if hot glue will stick it together. Alright, now let's go outside and carve this mother, because this is really bugging me, all this dust freaking everywhere. And I haven't even cut anything in this. This is just getting out of the package. So we definitely don't want to do this inside. Let's go! Okay, so if you can see that, roughed out a really basic shape of the hawk's body on either side of this. We're going to slice this up. Okay, now we're back in the office, and we're going to paper-mache this guy to make him super strong. I did make him quite a bit undersized to what I want the final shape to be, especially the head and this breast area. We're going to build this out quite a bit with paper-mache and then lots of layers of the paint chips. So that's quite a bit smaller than it should be at the moment. We're going to just cover this whole thing in glue and paper. So we got this old phone book. Up and cover this thing in paper mache. Alright, that was pleasantly fast for drying time because I put it in front of the fan. So now that the first layer is dried, I punched a hole through the shoulder for the wing. And now that I look at that hole, maybe it's a little bit low. Crap. We're gonna move that hole up this way, because the shoulder needs to be right there, not right there. But regardless of that, I've got a 3/4 by 3/4 aluminum square tube. So that goes in there, just a piece of it. Then it gets cut off right there. Then this 3/4 by 1/8 bar fits perfectly on the bias, on the diagonal of that square. So that goes in there, and then another one goes on the other side, and then we're gonna build, whoosh, this thing's freaking long, woo, 3 feet, the wing off of this. This will be the armature for the wing. And I cut myself a little bit, but that's no big deal. So we'll just cut that out a little bit, add 3 or 4 or 20 more layers of paper mache, and then we'll keep going with it. Okay, so just ground that hole out bigger. moved it up closer to the back. I think that's the right position. It's close enough, right? So we'll just cover this up with paper mache, and we'll try and kind of paper mache this pipe into place. Right now it's just held on with some tape, so it's in position, and the tape's not really sticking because all the stupid green dust everywhere. It's basically square to the body. Holy crap, it's not square at all. Now it's square to the body. So that the wings go on straight, and we'll make it solid and then add some wings. After a couple layers, this is pretty strong, sturdy, stable, all those good things. I strung a couple strips through these holes all the way through and then wrapped them around, and now it's just big enough for the wing pieces. This is, according to my scales and my reference photos, this is about how big the tail feather should be in real life. Maybe a little bit longer, but this all gets covered up with other feathers, so that part doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do, it's pretty easy. Take one of these bare swatches, I guess what you want to call them, and we're just going to slice it right in half. And I've got a length of wire here, just from this nasty old coil I had in the garage. I think that it's maybe 18 or 20 gauge. It's thin, but it's not so thin that it's, you know, going to collapse under its own weight. So I straightened it out as best I could. It's still a little wobbly, but that's okay. Then we're going to take some super glue, and you don't have to use super glue. You can use PVA glue, glue stick, hot glue, really whatever you want. I like super glue when I'm working with paper projects because it dries super fast and then you can move on. Place the wire in the center and a little bit down, I'd say 3/4 of an inch or an inch down from the top, so that we can slice that part up. Sandwich the other part on top and squish that together, trying not to get super glue on your own fingers, and rub the wire and impress it into the paper on this side, then flip it over and then impress it again on this side, so it really gets in there and sets into the glue and won't move around. Dang it, just took the color off with some super glue. Squeezing out all over the place. Okay, so now that that's together, we'll give it a sec to dry because I don't want super glue all over my nice scissors. And then we'll cut the shape out. So then go about 3/8 away from center and just cut out a basic teardrop shape. You don't want to use a pattern for this because in real life not all the feathers are the same, I don't think. At least looking at the pictures, it doesn't look like they're all identical sizes and shapes. Looks like they're all different. So now we have this little paddle shape. And then all we have to do, you can decide how much texture you want to put into this, but just kind of randomly make cuts towards the thicker angle. Don't do it this way, that's not right. And we're going to cut little notches out to make it look a little bit more like a feather. Okay, so you can make it a little bit more graphic, like that, with not a whole lot of texture, but a strong silhouette. Or you can keep going, and instead of cutting out those V's, you do cut out some V's, but then also cut out just a bunch of slices to give it that feather texture. So either way, whatever style you like best, you can really go ham hog on it and just slice this thing up and actually like turn it into a feather if you really wanted to. I haven't decided yet which one I prefer. I think I'm leaning towards the one with more cuts in it. So we need to make 10 of these for the tail feathers. In all the photo references I've seen of hawks, they all have 10 tail feathers. And I don't know if that's a thing, like all hawks have 10 feathers coming out their tail, but it might just be a coincidence of the photos I'm looking at. And then the wire is nice. We could just glue these together, leave the wire out, and stick it on the hawk, but the wire allows us to position and shape these if we want to after it's on the bird. So I went ahead and went for the more textured option. I think I like the way that it captures the light a little bit better. We'll see if I regret that decision later down the road, because I'm not going to do this to all the feathers. It's just the tail feathers and a couple of the larger wing feathers that I'm going to do this texture, not on the body. I did the layout for the feathers so that they're all evenly spaced with the wiring, and then we're going to put those on, just tack them on with some masking tape, and then once they're all on, just wrap the junk out of it. So now that we have that done, I should have done this way before I did all of these feathers, but so we have a little eyelet right here and a little eyelet right here, so we can hang it and balance it like we want in the ceiling. This one runs through the breast and then runs up here and is underneath all these feathers. I think you saw me do that. And then this one in the back, it splits and is now the armature for the legs. So all of this mass, this is all going to get sculpted out with, I don't know what yet, but that's going to be able to hold up the weight of all this, because the wings are going to be pretty heavy, so we need some solid anchors to hold all that up. Oh my goodness, my desk is filthy. Oh well, clean up later. So this is my idea for the wings. Got some 3/4 aluminum bar, and I filed down the ends of these so that when they go into the square tubing, they'll overlap each other and then kind of lock together. So the square tube is in here. This one is the right one, goes in there like that. This is the left one, because I have to make this in a way that will be able to come apart and then go back together, because I have to ship it all the way to Utah. So they shove together like that and tighten in on one another, and then it's super tight and strong. And then he's got some wings, and then these will go out another, 8 inches. So they're freaking huge wings. And then I bent them to shape. Woo! So these holes, I'm going to build the feathers, the main big feathers for the wings, the same way I did the tail feathers, where I'm going to laminate paper between some wire, and then that wire will get threaded through these holes and twisted on, and then we're going to laminate more paper around that for the smaller feathers. So that's the plan for now, and I gotta say, this guy's looking really good, except everything's like out of square and out of center. But whatever, like look at this, look at his butt. Like that doesn't match the wings, and the wings are all twisted and crooked, and it's not perfect. Gosh dang it. Okay, so that worked. I didn't want to do this on camera and then not have it work and then look like an idiot, like I don't know what I'm doing. This layer is like gluing them in place, holding them in position, because they were all floppy before. So then those wrap around and finish this edge so you don't see the aluminum. And then this top layer of feathers is going to come over and just kind of end right there, I think. I was talking about not making mistakes on camera. Wow, holy freaking crap, I'm so mad at myself right now. So I was all ready to get this done and move on to the head, and so I built the other wing. Look at this nice wing, look at it, it's freaking beautiful. I built the freaking thing backwards. I copied this wing because I wasn't thinking at all. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna go put it together. Here we go, I'm done with the bird now. And it's freaking upside down. This white feather is supposed to be on the bottom. Gosh dang it. Gosh. So it's like that, and the pattern is totally different. The type of feather is totally different. Oh my gosh. It's supposed to be like that on the top. So it's just like, dang, I'm freaking stupid. So now, and I can't like carefully take this off because these feathers are lower than where these feathers are supposed to be. So when I go to take these off, it's gonna destroy these main feathers and I have to rebuild the whole freaking thing. Like this, like it's gonna destroy it. Can't reuse any of this stuff. But I need to get these feathers off without damaging it. So I might get my heat gun out and reactivate the hot glue and see what that does. Maybe it'll save it. But yeah, now I'm in a bad mood. Ah! Well, I did it. I flipped it around. Now we can finally move on to sculpting the face. So I'm finally getting started on the head. And we were winging it. I don't know how this is gonna work out. I hope it looks good in the end. But I glued on some ball bearings for the eyes, and I might paint those with some nail polish later. And then I sculpted out the form of the head just because it wasn't quite the right shape from the, what's it called? Paper-mache. So I just stuck some Sculpty on there. Sculpey? Oven baked clay. And this is where I am now. Well, it's finally finished, but my office is freaking trashed. Hey Mom, can you come help me clean my office? Don't! Really gotta send it. Gosh. I wonder what that looked like.